Hey guys, it's Sarah. Thank you so much for watching. So today I'm going to be sharing some products that I have changed my mind about, whether it's for better or for worse. Like some of these I used to not like and now I love them. Some of them I used to like and now I don't anymore. And I always feel like these videos are helpful because let's say I shared a review on one of these products in the past, which I think most of these I have, just in case, you know, I shared like a rave review on something at one point. I feel like it's kind of my responsibility now to let you know if I no longer feel that way about it, because I just want to share my most updated thoughts on these products. So let's go ahead and start out on a high note with a product that I used to not like so much and it's starting to grow on me, the Norvina palette from Anastasia. So I bought this palette right when it launched and it's one of the few products in my collection that I bought immediately on launch day. That's very rare for me. I don't try to be that YouTuber who is like the first one to post a review of something. It's just not me. I did review this on my channel shortly after I got it, and at the time I just wasn't vibing with this palette. Like I felt like I kept ending up with looks that made me look like I had a black eye. I remember saying that, and I just felt like I had a hard time combining colors in this palette together. I felt like a lot of them clashed together, and I do still think that it's a little bit tricky to plan out a look with this palette because some of the colors do clash just a little bit. Like, I don't know, the shade Soul, I feel like I was expecting it to be a brighter shade and it's really more of a grayish periwinkle. It's a very cool toned color, and I think at the time I wasn't as comfortable with cool tones, and I'm slowly starting to get more comfortable with cool tones. Anyway, long story short, I really am starting to enjoy this palette a lot. I've always loved rosy shadows, and this palette really does have a lot of that, especially in like this region right here. I don't know, I'm starting to really love this palette. Now, one of the other things I'd complained about when I first reviewed it was how much fallout there was, especially with this top row of glittery shades, and I still stand by that. If fallout and like flaky powdery shadows are a deal breaker for you, then you definitely want to stay away from this palette because it is probably the worst palette I own in terms of fallout, even worse than Subculture. And I'm mostly just talking about this top row of metallics here. Those are just really, really flaky shadows. Tons of fallout with those. I don't so much have a problem with the matte shades, really just those metallic shades, but when they are applied, these are some of the most beautiful metallic shadows I've ever seen. Like, they are buttery, they are so opaque. Once I got over my annoyance with the fallout, I really started to enjoy this palette more. Also, at the time that I reviewed this the first time, I was not one to ever do my eye makeup before my face makeup, but now whenever I use this palette, I usually do my eye makeup first, and that helps a lot. I used to be really unwilling to do that for some reason, but I've kind of shifted. I've become a little bit more open-minded when it comes to that. So anyway, I'm really starting to enjoy this palette. I do still think, like, the shade Eccentric, I do feel like that shade does clash with a lot of these other shades, and there are just some shade choices in here that still confuse me a little bit. And it's definitely not the easiest color story to figure out. So you have to be willing to maybe think about color theory and make sure that you're pairing shades that don't like clash completely. That's kind of been my journey with this palette, but as of now, I'm liking it a lot more. After the month where I had the shade Soul in my eyeshadow roulette and I was forced to find a way to use that color that I liked, I'm enjoying this a lot more. And by the way that I like using that color is laying it down as a base and then topping it with a shimmery shadow. I really like the ColourPop, it's either Howlin' or Prowlin', whichever one is the shimmery light purple. Over that is gorgeous. Also Celestial looks really pretty over that shade, so not so much using that shade alone like in the crease, but using it as a base underneath nice light shimmery colors can be really pretty. So I found some new ways to use this palette that I'm really liking. I am wearing a few of the shades on my eyes right now. I'm wearing Dazzling on my lid and Love in the crease and Dreamer in the inner corner, but I also am wearing the e.l.f. Opposites Attract palette underneath. I actually just did a palette bingo with the e.l.f. Opposites Attract palette, and then once I was sitting down to film this video, I decided to throw a few of these on over the look I already had on, so I don't know, things might be looking a little crazy. But you can really see how those rosy colors look on my eyes, and I'm really feeling a lot more inspired by this palette now than I did when I first got it. Okay, so this product I've changed my mind about the opposite way. So I used to really like it, and now I don't, and I won't repurchase it anymore, but it's the e.l.f. Lip Exfoliator. I used to be a big fan of these. This is the second one that I've owned. I've never actually used one of these up. I used to have the like original version way back when they first had it, like at the very beginning of e.l.f.'s like career. But this one I have is the rose version, and I've had this for less than a year and it's already gone bad. The smell has just gone off. It used to smell really good. It used to have a really nice rose scent, but the smell has just, I need to toss it because it's gone bad. Possibly because I was storing it in my bathroom, and I know there's a lot more moisture in the air in my bathroom. Maybe that wasn't the best choice, but I still feel like it should be able to last longer than, like, I think I've only had it like 10 months. I think I bought this in December of 2018, and so it hasn't even been a whole year. And I'm just kind of like, all right, well, I guess that's over with. Not only did it go bad sort of quickly, but I'm just realizing that I don't need a lip scrub like this. I just feel like they're too abrasive, and I could achieve the same result by just using like a wet washcloth on my lips. I honestly feel like that does a better job than something like this. So I do find that these kinds of things work better when my lips are wet, or if I like already have a balm on before I scrub them, but I still just don't feel like it's necessary. Like I can get the same result, if not a better result, by just using something that I already have, and that's just one less thing that I have to buy. So I used to really like these and think they were all that, but now I'm just kind of like, it's not necessary. Another makeup product that I have switched from not liking to actually really liking. I rediscovered this recently in my Full Face of Nothing New video, which if you missed it, I'll link it below, but I hadn't used this in a long time, and so that's why I brought it back out for that video. For a while, this was like my least favorite blush in my collection, and if you remember, I did a video a couple months ago. It was 5 best and 5 worst from 5 brands, so I shared my favorite and least favorite product from the 5 brands that I own the most products from. That was a really complicated sentence. And this was my least favorite product from Covergirl. It's their Cheekers blush in Natural Twinkle. When I shared my thoughts on it in that video, I talked about how it was just really sheer, and it has these little, it does have shimmer in it, like little mini sparkles that, you know, if you don't like shimmer in your cheek products, I still wouldn't recommend this to you, but if you don't mind shimmer, I have completely changed my mind about this. If you saw my Full Face of Nothing New video, then you saw me apply this, and I was like in total shock because it went on so much better than I was expecting. When I applied it that time, I don't want to say I dug my brush into it more, but I definitely made a point to pick up more product on my brush than I normally do with blush, because normally I don't want to apply too much because I'm afraid that I'll look like a clown. But when I used it in that video, I really, you know, I did pick up more on my brush, and that time it just gave me the most beautiful, like, mauve-y plum flush to my cheeks, and it's a color that I don't have any duplicates of in my collection. Most of my blushes are more peachy, and this is more of like a plummy, rosy blush. I think of this as kind of like a fall and winter blush shade, and I think I'm going to be getting a ton of use out of this in the winter because it's just such a gorgeous color. And I think that for a while I didn't like it because I just thought that it was really sheer and it didn't really show up very well, and it just kind of blended away, but I think I just wasn't applying enough of it. And I'm not used to having to pile on blush, but when this is piled on, it looks so pretty. So I have completely changed my mind about that. This next product is one that I reviewed in my best and worst face sunscreens under $20. Is that what I called it? I don't know. I did a big video where I reviewed a bunch of facial SPF products, and this was one of them. This actually ranked in my top 3. I think this was my number 3. So I really liked it at the time. It just barely, like, it was almost a tie between the top 3 at the time that I filmed that video. My opinions on all the sunscreens I reviewed pretty much stayed the same except for this one. I feel like I liked this one a lot less than I did at the time. So this is the Acure Radically Rejuvenating SPF Day Cream. It's SPF 30. And the more I've used this, the more I've had issues with it pilling on me. I'm sure that's because the only active ingredient in here is zinc oxide, so it's not a combination of zinc oxide and titanium dioxide. Those zinc oxide only sunscreens do tend to have more of a tendency to pill. So I presume that that's why. And if you remember, I also reviewed the Derma E facial SPF, and that was also zinc oxide only, but that one was way worse. Like, it was on another level of pilling. This one still isn't nearly as bad as that one, but I feel like anytime I wear this under makeup, my makeup will pill a little bit and like flake off, so I can't really wear it under makeup anymore. And I have to be careful of what I layer this over. So for example, I can't layer it over my Derma E vitamin C serum, which I normally like to use in the morning underneath my, you know, sunscreen and other products. But so I guess since that's got more of a gel consistency, this just doesn't play well with that. I've found that most of the time when I don't use a serum underneath this, it works okay, but it's finicky enough that I feel like it's time for me to just at least let you know that I have changed my mind. I don't recommend it as highly as I did in my sunscreen video. I still think it's good. I do still wear it on my no makeup days. I will continue to use it up. I just feel like I would prefer something that's a little bit more foolproof, and this one it just requires I have to like jump through a lot of hoops to get it to work. And also, something that I've noticed, and I don't know if this is a cause for concern or not, but it doesn't say broad spectrum on it. And I know it's really important to make sure that you're using a broad spectrum SPF. And I looked on the website too, and it doesn't say it anywhere on there either. And so I'm wondering if it actually is as protective as it should be. So I'm really not sure what that means, but it does concern me a little bit, because I feel like if it were broad spectrum, they would want to advertise that, you know what I mean? So I don't think I'd recommend this for that reason either. The next thing I've changed my mind about is this NYX Dewy Finish Setting Spray. I was going to do a favorites revisited video on my October monthly favorites from last year, but there were only a handful of makeup products in that video, and I just felt like it wouldn't be that interesting. But this is one that stuck out to me as one that I have changed my mind about. So this was a favorite 1 year ago, and at the time I don't think I had tried my Pixie Glow Mist yet, and so that's why, no, I definitely hadn't tried that one yet. So if you watch my channel regularly, then you've probably heard me talk about the Pixie Glow Mist. That one is my favorite. I talk about it all the time, and it's kind of kicked this one out of that favorite spot for me when it comes to like a dewy setting spray. This one, so I think that the deal with this is that not only does it give you a dewy finish, I think it's also meant to increase the wear time of your makeup, because it does say long lasting. And this does contain alcohol, by the way, so, oh, it also has niacinamide, that's cool. I feel like even though it is dewy, it's also very drying at the same time. Like when I spray it on, it almost feels like I have hairspray on my face. Like it just, like I can feel it kind of tightening up and like drying up my makeup, presumably so that it'll last longer. I don't really struggle with my makeup wearing off though, so I'm not the best person to be reviewing something for that. But I guess, yeah, it's just not my favorite. I don't really use setting spray for the purpose of making my makeup last longer. I really just use it to finish off my makeup, more as a finishing spray. I guess what I really am looking for is like a finishing spray, not so much a setting spray. And the Pixie Glow Mist for me is more of a finishing spray, whereas this is like it certainly does make you very dewy, but it's not like a hydrating dewy. It's like dewy but also drying at the same time, if that makes sense. So maybe if you want a setting spray that's not going to mattify you, or if you have oily skin but you still like a dewy finish, this might be a good product. It's just not my favorite anymore. I'm still gonna keep it and use it. I feel like it has a place in my collection, but I feel like it's just not really meant for me. The last product that I changed my mind about is a lipstick. This is the Madame Glam Velvet Lipstick in the shade Madhatter, and this is like a Barbie pink. It's a very cool toned light pink. I shared recently in my top 5 bottom 5 of all the lipsticks that I own. This was one of my bottom 5 because I was just like, I just haven't found a way to wear this. But I also hadn't worn it very many times, but it's just the lipstick that I got the least use out of because it's a color that really intimidated me. And I have found a way to wear this that I do like. I'm wearing it today actually, and the way that I like wearing it is, I mean, it sounds pretty obvious, but is pairing it with a slightly different colored lip liner, or a lip liner that's a little bit deeper, maybe a little bit more of a wearable pink, and just throwing this on the center of my lips. So today I'm wearing it alongside the Urban Decay lip pencil in Manic, which is more of a rosy pink, and so I feel like this kind of just tones down the coolness of this shade. I also like it with the Jordana Rose Crush lip liner. That one's a little bit more of a peachy lip liner, but it just makes this look a lot less intense on my lips. So what I'll do is I will line my lips with the lip liner, and then I'll also fill in the outer part of my lips, and then I'll apply this Madame Glam lipstick in the center. And I do actually really like the way that looks. So I never thought I would enjoy wearing like a light, almost pastel Barbie pink like this, but it's definitely a lot easier to pull off when I'm able to manipulate the color just a little bit and just wear this in the center of my lips, because I just think that looks a little bit more natural. I wouldn't say that it's one of my favorite lipsticks currently, but I'm glad that I did find a way to make it work. So those are all the products that I've changed my mind about. I really just wanted to update you and let you know my current opinions on these products, because they have changed. So I hope that you enjoyed this and found it helpful. If you did, please make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. I upload every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, so I'd love to see you again very soon, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye.